everyone. Welcome to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 at approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burning, may we please have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Burning.
Present.
Mr. Honolo.
Present.
Ms. Davis.
Present.
All the trustees are present.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. Can I ask everyone to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on our agenda tonight is a very special ceremony, a promotional swearing in. I'll turn this portion of our agenda over to Chief Bly.
Thank you, Ms. Dukes. Tonight we're really excited. We have one of our newest recent promotions in the fire department to captain. Randy Miller is going to be sworn in tonight. So if Randy, Chief Bro, step up and Randy's family step up, and we'll do a ceremony.
Don't look so somber.
Yeah, don't look so excited. I want to say before they actually do the swearing in, just let me kind of give you a brief synopsis of what Randy means to us and how he's been in the township for so long. Randy's been with the Springfield Township Fire Department for the past 27 years. He has his bachelor's degree in fire and safety engineering from the University of Cincinnati and his master's degree in safety, security, and emergency management from Eastern Kentucky University. He was promoted to the rank of fire lieutenant in December of 2002. Randy provides instructions and oversees the Springfield Township's fire training program, fire prevention division, and juvenile fire setters intervention program, and supports the development, improvement, and coordination of all the department's emergency operation plans. Randy is the department's representative for the Hamilton County Fire Chiefs Regional Operational Center. Randy's leadership and influence goes far beyond his duties at Springfield Township. He has served as the EMA director for other local communities, is an elite instructor for the Cincinnati State Technical and Community College. Randy volunteers his off time for other local fire departments and with the American Red Cross, assisting them in local emergency medical services and as a leader of their disaster team for local natural disasters and fire incidents. Randy has demonstrated over the years through his leadership and commitment to our community to be very deserving of this promotion. So congratulations, Randy. But I'd like at this time to kind of turn it over to Chief Bro, where he's going to have the honor of swearing Randy in as our newest captain.
I, Randy Miller, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
I solemnly swear, we need to repeat that again.
I solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the laws and ordinances of Springfield Township, Hamilton County,
the laws and ordinances of Springfield Township, Hamilton County,
and that I will,
to
the best of my skill and judgment,
the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the position of fire captain for Springfield Township, that I will familiarize and be obedient to the rules and regulations, operational procedures of the Springfield Township Fire and EMS Department, and faithfully serve Springfield Township in the discharge of my duties as fire captain
in the discharge of duties as fire captain
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Deservedly.
Congratulations again, Captain Miller. We're very fortunate to have you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right on cue, next on our agenda is a presentation by Judge Marilyn Zayas.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to be here. The reason that I'm here is I wanted to share a little bit about the court and a little bit about myself. When I was first elected to the Court of Appeals, I used to call my court the Mystery Court. And the reason I called it the Mystery Court is because I don't think we did a great job of sharing with the public who we are, what we do, and even where we are. People think that we're in the courthouse. We're actually not even in the courthouse. So that's what a mystery court we were. So I believe very strongly in access, transparency, and accountability. So I enjoy coming to meetings like this. And when I conclude, I'm happy to take questions and answer, to take questions and to respond to any questions that you have. So I'm Judge Marilyn Zayas. I'm the one with that weird name that you see the billboards with the purple Z. So that's me, the judge with the purple Z. When I was first elected almost 8 years ago, I came at this with zero political background whatsoever. I knew nothing about running a campaign. I knew nothing about politics. I only knew why I was running. And that was what fueled me to do this, despite the fact that I didn't meet one person who thought that I could win when I ran in 2016. The reason that I did this is because as an attorney, all you want for your client when they come to court is to have a fair chance. And to me, a fair chance means that cases are being made, decisions are being made based on the rule of law and the facts, and that's it. That anything personal is left outside of the courtroom. And sometimes there were moments that it felt like maybe a decision was being made on an outcome, and things were being bent that way. So we hear about judicial activism. That's my version of judicial activism, and that's all I had when I ran. So when I was elected, it was a big deal because coming from where I came from, I grew up in a neighborhood that in the 80s was called Crack City, USA. So my brothers and I we were expected to be statistics. That's all that we were supposed to be. And I came to Ohio 35 years ago because I really wanted a new home. I wanted a new life. That's what drew me here. I came to work for Procter & Gamble. Back then I was in technology. And a lot of people say, why did you leave the golden handcuffs of P&G? That all goes back to when I was 19 and I was going with my mom to court. And she had been in a very difficult marriage, and she finally got away. My mom is originally from Puerto Rico, so she didn't have good command of English, and I would be her ad hoc interpreter. And that's when I realized, things that happen in these buildings have profound impact on people and on families, and I wanted to be one of those people. So after almost 7 years at P&G, I left P&G, went to UC Law. I was a practitioner for almost 20 years, and I guess the rest is history. So, coming where I came from, I felt like I really had a duty to everyone in this county, and when I took my seat, that did not get lost. My reputation as a judge is when Zayas is on the bench, you're going to get a fair chance. Your client will get a fair chance. She's going to look at the law. She's going to look at the facts. So I'm really proud that I have really honored the voters of this county. And some of the things that we've done in the court that is very different, because I feel like I serve in a very different court from when I entered to where we are now. At the Court of Appeals, when I talk to students, I call my court, and I hope nobody takes offense, I call it the loser's court, because that's where people go when a decision has been made and they don't feel like that's the decision that they expected, or they feel that maybe somebody put their thumbs on the scales of justice and they appealed the decision. So I just use that term to explain what it is that we do, because we're not doing trials, we don't have juries, and most cases that are decided that we are an error reviewing court, most cases, the Court of Appeals is the last opportunity to correct that error. So that's what we do. We're an error-correcting court. In our county, we are in the 1st Appellate District. There are 88 counties in Ohio, and there are 12 appellate districts. So most of the times, you have a multitude of counties that when a decision is made, and when I say decision, it's anything. It could be who has custody of the child. It could be how much damage just do you have to pay? Is it guilty? Is it not guilty? We've had cases that are millions of dollars at stake. We've had cases regarding workman's comp. We've had traffic accidents. We have products liability. Anything that gets decided in any of the courts that feeds into an appellate district, once that decision is made and the party to which the decision was unfavorable appeal the decision and say, hey, I want you to look at this, and I want you to see if there was error and correct that error. That goes to the courts of appeals. That's the last juncture, because anything that gets appealed to a court of appeals, we take it as a matter of right. The next level is the Supreme Court of the state, and they get to decide what they're going to take. And only about 1% of all cases that are decided by trial judges make their way to the state Supreme Court, which is a much lower number than the ones that come to the Court of Appeals. So statewide, there are only 69 judges at my level, at the Court of Appeals level. At the Supreme Court, it's 7 justices. So that gives you sort of an idea of the hierarchy. At the trial level, there are over 800 elected judges with appointments. It's well over 1,000 trial judges making those initial very, very difficult decisions. So that's the structure of the court that we have here. Besides justice and fairness, my other passion is our next generation. So one of the reasons that I'm coming to you is I have a program that I started in 2017 called Educating Tomorrow's Leaders. I've hosted hundreds of students through that program. It's an inspirational educational program where I share my personal story, very similar to the way that I shared it with you. I talk about the court structure with a little bit more detail, very similar to how I shared it with you, okay? And, my hope isn't not necessarily just to recruit the next attorneys in the world or the next judges. It's more so that young people will see their full potential, because I never dreamt this big. In my wildest dreams, I would have never thought that I would have been an attorney, never mind an elected judge. Not in my wildest dreams. Even when I was in law school, never fathomed, never entered my scope of understanding that I could be an elected judge. So my thought is, how many other young people aren't seeing their full potential? That program now has been expanded, and we're kicking it off with Cincinnati Public Schools next month. They have a sort of a curriculum called Girls to Women, and now it'll have a component called Girls in Law. Since then, I've been corresponding with several schools. I'll be with Dater next month, Dater High School, St. Ursula, St. Xavier. I go to Taylor High School in Cleves in a couple weeks. And kind of bringing this to as many schools as possible. And I certainly would love to bring it to some of the schools in Springfield Township. So if there's any contacts that could be shared with me, I would be happy to reach out to whoever is the program director for student programs, or to a government teacher who would be interested in having me come in and speak to the class. So I thank you for your time, and happy to take any questions you have.
I don't have any questions.
Judge, just out of curiosity, what percentage of cases that go to the Court of Appeals that is the trial court decision overturned or reversed?
You know, it's funny because I was foreseeing that question, and I realized I didn't look at that number. I will tell you that when I was running, I looked at that number. So at that time, in the preceding years, we had the second highest reversal rate from our court by the Supreme Court of the state. From that perspective. The reversal rate for us is a little bit harder to track, but if you, I take a note of your name, and I'm happy to reach out to your office and ask my administrator to look that up.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very important because the reversal rate has, from the trial courts to us in the time that we've been there has gone up. One of the things I'm really proud of my court is our deliberation and our collaboration has really gone up. So the 6 of us collaborate a lot. We talk a lot to each other. We understand that we're here to serve the public. When I joined the court, 99% of the cases, if not more, were decided in one conference. And so now really our goal is to get it right. It's very common to spend multiple conferences on a case. I wouldn't say it's very common, but it happens with some level of frequency that we have 4 conferences on one case before the 3 of us are clear on where we're going with it. And we don't always agree, and that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. If we all agree, does the Supreme Court of the United States always agree on everything? They don't, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason that there's 3 of us because it's the last juncture, and so you want to make sure that there is a thorough review, because if there is something to be corrected and we miss it, that has a very dire consequence, and that becomes law for Hamilton County. So the Court of Appeals is actually the first level of courts that create law. So when we decide an issue, that now is considered presidential and binding for Hamilton County whenever that issue comes forward within our county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you again.
Judge.
All right. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have one set of meeting minutes for approval, regular session, August 8th, 2023. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Burney, may we please have your financial report?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Davis. For the month ending August 31st, 2023, the township expenditures were $1,809,211.88, and receipts were $1,254,476.11. The ending cash balance of $24,664,133.59 includes obligations for expenditures, payroll, operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. What I request from the board is the approval of the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenue and reports for the period ending August 31st, 2023. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And for the audience and anybody here, the financial reports are available during regular business hours here at the administration office or on our website 24/7. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Burney. Next on our agenda, departmental action discussion items with our Assistant Township Administrator, Ms. Kathleen Kennedy.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Dukes Davis. I am happy to be here on a relatively light agenda for the evening. There are no action items before the board tonight. The first discussion item listed on the agenda is related to an application being made by the Cardinal Land Conservancy for some property located within Springfield Township. If you're not familiar, the Cardinal Lane Conservancy is a land conservancy group that's based in Milford, Ohio, that works with and on properties in southwest Ohio. You may recall a couple years ago, they came to the board requesting a resolution of support related to their Clean Ohio Green Space Conservation application for property that the Cardinal Lane Conservancy had acquired on Compton Road in the township. The Cardinal Lane Conservancy is going to be making another application to the Clean Ohio Green Space Conservation Fund and is requesting a resolution of support from the board. So later on in the agenda, you'll see resolution number 75, 2023, in support of their application. And in the board's packet, there is more information related to the work that Cardinal Lane Conservancy does in Southwest Ohio and here in the township. There's a map of the property that the Cardinal Lane Conservancy is going to be acquiring in addition to the work of their application. In attendance of the meeting tonight, we also have Mark Besserman, Stewardship Director of Cardinal Lane Conservancy, and Jack Stenger, the land manager from the Cardinal Lane Conservancy, if you happen to have any questions about their application or anything like that. So again, I wanted to just mention that before we got to the resolution later on in the agenda. Again, that's resolution number 75, 2023. Were there any questions about any of that before I continue on?
I guess the one question I have, it looks, looking at the map here, there's 25.6 acres that are currently, those are owned outright by the Cardinal Land Conservancy. And then this additional 3 acres, is the dance school, is that going to stay there?
Come on.
Sure. Sure, Mark.
So yeah, the Cincinnati Dance and Movement Studio would stay there. We are buying a portion of the land that those owners hold. So there's an old kind of rundown house right up close to Compton Road. And so we're buying that house parcel and the rear portion of the dance studio lot so that we can put in a parking lot that is on the kind of the flat uphill portion with driveway access. That'll make it easier to get into the preserve. Then it would be our intention to tear down that house, remove the barn that had fallen down, and kind of open up the brushy area so that it's more inviting for people to come into our nature preserve. But the dance studio that is there now would stay there.
Mark, would there be walking trails through this, or what are you kind of planning for the?
So there are some primitive hiking trails on the preserve currently. And the biggest challenge we have with the property that was acquired 2 years ago is access into the property. There's no good parking from Compton Road. So what this latest project will do by adding that 2.5 acres is we have the driveway access, we'll add a parking lot, and then connect into our existing trail system. And so we would be open to the public dawn to dusk, and people can come in and hike around as much as they'd like. And I'd be happy to show anybody the preserve at any time. Just give me a call, and I'd be happy to schedule a tour of the preserve.
I think when you showed it to me, we pulled up off the road right there.
Yeah, there's no good pull off right now.
And it's straight downhill there too.
Yeah, yep.
And so is there an anticipated timeline for the grant approval process?
Yes, so the timeline is such that the application needs to be submitted by about mid-October. And we would likely know by the end of the calendar year if the grant will be approved. And then we would proceed through closing on the actual property transfer. And if all goes according to that plan, we would hope to have the house torn down in the spring, parking lot installed soon after that, and have the trails open by sometime next spring or into the summer.
So are your plans contingent upon your receiving this particular grant?
Yes. So the Clean Ohio Green Space Conservation Fund program requirements require a resolution of support from the township and from the county commissioners. And we don't have enough funds to just purchase the property outright from the owners. So the only way we can proceed with this project is if we get Clean Ohio funding.
Okay.
More questions?
Thanks, Mark.
And
Okay,
Mark,
thank
I
you.
have to ask you, is that, you once showed me a chestnut tree you were growing in there. Is that thing still there?
It is. So a few years ago, we planted some hybrid American chestnut trees. And the biggest one is about 10 years old, 8 or 9 years old right now. It has a trunk that's about the size of a broomstick, and it's probably 12 feet tall. It had some flowers on it this year, but we didn't see any burrs with new chestnuts. So yeah, they're doing well.
They're doing, okay.
Thank you.
Curious. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Moving on to the personnel update, we had the ending of a co-op in the administration department. That was Weston Floro Hageman. His co-op, his UC DAP co-op ended August 10th, 2023. We obviously had the promotion in the fire department of Randy Miller to captain on August 19th, 2023, and the promotion of Rachel Poe to full-time paramedic firefighter on August 19th, 2023. We had a couple new hires in the fire department: Nathan Crowley, part-time EMT firefighter, Matthew Myers, part-time EMT firefighter, and Ulysses Cisco, part-time EMT firefighter, all on August 8th, 2023, and Madison Snyder, part-time paramedic firefighter, on August 14th, 2023. In the police department, we had the resignation of Sean McBride on July 25th, 2023, and a new hire of Christian Davis to a dispatch position on August 30th, 2023. In the Public Works Department, we had a promotion of Brian McDowell to full-time laborer on, that says November, I'm guessing that is August 19th, 2023. And we had a few seasonal ends as the summer comes to an end, kids go back to school. Kyle Bill was a seasonal laborer. His final date was August 18th. And Justin Shapansky on August 18th as well. Finally, we had the resignation of Evelyn Richards, a guest monitor in the Arts Community Center, on August 11th, 2023. So unless there are any questions, I'll turn it over to Kim Flam to talk about some of the upcoming community events and programs that we have.
Thank you. This Friday, Arts Connect is hosting the last concert of the year, and we are bringing a band called Green Light Morning to the stages from 7 to 10 p.m. Also at this event, we'll have a couple of art booths. We're going to be launching our new Arts Connect website, which is a separate site from the Arts Connect site that hosts local artists' artwork for sale. Arts Connect is going to help them with some professional development monthly, and then do all of the fulfillment that they won't then have to do all of the shipping and packing and mailing as those items are sold. On September the 23rd, the Springfield Township Neat Streets program is hosting a neighborhood cleanup in Edgemont, and they are going to be doing that starting at 9 a.m., and the meeting location is at the corner of Section and Ross Roads. That event will go until noon, and volunteers are definitely needed. They are going to be giving away free t-shirts for that. On October the 6th and 7th, Arts Connect has their annual Art Local Art Show, and that will be this year held at the Grove Event Center. We're doing an Art Deco swing jazz theme, so that'll be a new thing for us to actually host it as a themed event. Also on October 7th, so the same exact day, the Springfield Township Fire Department is hosting their big open house event, which is always a huge hit, with fire demonstrations and safety booths, and that goes from noon till 3. Then later on in October, the Halloween Hootenanny is on October the 28th. We'll have trunk or treating, all kinds of games, activities for the kids, a big hay maze, hay rides. It's always a big turnout and should be a lot of fun. That's all I have.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Unless there are any other questions about all of Kim's upcoming events, outlined in the board's packet are the departmental activity reports. So again, unless there are any questions about those activity reports from our various departments, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Next on our agenda are resolutions, several for our consideration this evening. First is resolution number 72-2023, authorizing private sale of unneeded and unfit for use property in the police department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 73-2023, authorizing sale by internet auction of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit for use property in the police department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 74-2023, declaring motor vehicles located on public or private property in Springfield Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, to be junk motor vehicles pursuant to RC 505.173 and ordering the removal of such vehicles pursuant to resolution number 80-2012 and RC 505.871. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 75-2023, a resolution supporting an application for the 2023 Clean Ohio Conservation Fund for the Westmark Woods Nature Preserve Project, Phase 2 in Springfield Township, Hamilton County, Ohio. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 76-2023, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 77-2023, establishing assessment for abatement of nuisance and certifying same to the Hamilton County Auditor. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And finally, we have resolution number 78-2023, supplemental appropriations in the Police District Fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next on our agenda, is there any old business, Mr. Byrne?
I don't have any.
Mr.
I do not this evening.
Is there any new business?
I don't.
Now we've reached the portion of our agenda for citizen participation. If there's anyone here that would like to address the board, please step to the podium, state your name and address. We'll be happy to hear from you.
Hi, good evening. My name's Michael Hamill. I live at 8532 Brent Drive, and I was in here a couple of months ago discussing situations that are going on that are kind of conspiracy theory by some bend of minds, and I'm here to again reassert the fact that this is truth that's going on. I have a question about the growth that's going on in the township. I had told you about Agenda 21. I had told you about Agenda 2030, how it's a UN control for land, for local governments, for city governments, for state governments, and so on and so on, the control of what we're doing. What I'm seeing is what's happening on Hamilton Avenue, what is happening on Springfield Pike, where they've taken 4-lane roads and now made them 2-lane roads. And on North Bend Road, east-west, and on Galbraith, they're going to start doing that same movement, reducing the traffic flow. That is part of the overall global situation of creating 15-minute cities. I think you might remember that term because it got people's attention. That is a very strong compound and development process of the 15-minute cities. Is the shrinking of traffic, the increase of bikes, increase of bus traffic on the roads to try to get people to get out of their cars, park the cars all that conspiracy theory stuff. In relation to that, with what's been going on at Chick-fil-A, unless I am crazy, I'm not the only one that was listening to times and dates and places when people could start construction in the morning and when they could close down the construction at night, and other variances that were allowed to happen when other variances that had been requested and said that they would be paid for by Chick-fil-A had been abandoned and said that's not possible. What I'm specifically talking about is the 200-foot variance from a business to the back part. I know this is zoning that I was talking to, or that told us this, 200 feet, and they automatically declared that it could be now 180 feet from the nearest residence, which is right behind them. That's right across the street from me. A variance was created and made and established. We were told that we were going to have the trees remain on the property there between the house that's closest to Chick-fil-A. Son of a gun, something happened, and you all realized that a mistake was made, and all the trees, all the forestation, the minimal that it was, but the buffer that was there was demolished by the tractors. And the offer that Chick-fil-A has made to compensate the people that are there, as far as the houses go, is to put in a 14-foot fence, a wire mesh of some type. I didn't see the plans. I didn't hear the gentleman or the young lady speak about what it was, but a fencing that would be 14 feet tall to eliminate visual acuity and some of the noise abatement. We were told, or these people were told, that it was over code. Well, my personal belief is I don't believe anybody's going to go back with a tape measure, for one, off of Winton Road and measure it. 2, Chick-fil-A was willing to pay for it. 3, some of the distinctions that are going on as far as the construction elements back there haven't been adhered to. 4, the people that are working on that building start before 7 o'clock in the morning, and there are times they don't end until after 9 o'clock at night. It's changing now. It's been indoors, and so the construction element of it is changing, but it's still noise. We've lost 2 really good neighbors, long-term neighbors there. We're about to lose a bunch more, and that's all because of what is necessity, or what has been created and deemed a necessity here, when we were told and we were promised, and those truths and those promises didn't come to fruition. So it's a disappointment. It's bittersweet that I'm here, because it's like, I don't know if our request, even that night, that we were there on property, talking to Chick-fil-A, talking to Township, and did it fall on deaf ears? It seems to be the situation. But this thing that's going on, I was here talking about the Agenda 21, and with the leapfrogging of Princeton Pike, Hamilton Avenue, you now have Coleraine, that's still 4 lanes. You have Winton Road here, which is 4 lanes. What is that going to do? Are we going to continue as a 4-lane street structure, or is it going to be narrowed down to 2? What's the long-term goal? I haven't seen anything from the Planning Commission come in to my email to have another open session to give our thoughts on what we'd like to see here in the township. And so I'm not sure what's going to be happening with that. I would like to know. I haven't seen a word, neither have the neighbors. We're concerned about what's going on with the school down there, and I'm really happy I came tonight, because as far as the land grab, I hope you don't allow this to go through, because this is also, if that is land that's going to be in perpetuity to a conservatory, that's part of the problem. That's part of the land grab situation that's going on, with smaller groups buying up portions of property in townships, in states, to be part of this bigger park system, which is going to be turned over to all this bike traffic, foot traffic, things like that, which should normally be nice. But what's the revenue that's going to be taken away from Springfield Township if 25 acres is turned into conservancy property that will never be able to be touched again? We talk about raising funds here. We talk about building the infrastructure. We talk about monies that are needed to make this township grow. And if you allow this to go through, that's a shot in the foot to every person that lives in this township that's depending on you for what you promise, as far as getting people to move in here, businesses to come in here, building to be built here. Yes, sir.
That's already a land conservatory.
I'm sorry?
That is already a land conservatory.
The 25 of the acres is
It's already
already,
a land, it's been that way.
they're only buying less than 3 more acres,
2.5, I think it is,
2.6.
to put a parking lot in, so
Well-
so people can enjoy it. But it's already there. there's nothing we can do about it.
You can deny the sale of the three acres. You can deny that.
We don't have the authority to deny sales.
Well, I was unaware of that situation.
If you want to sell something, we can't
I
deny your
was
sale.
unaware of that. Is it for me to be aware of? Maybe I need to be up a little bit more on what the politics that are going on around here, what's actually happening. That's my fault. But I'm learning, and I'm trying to warn you as a taxpayer, as just a person that's interested in the way that this country is going, and it's not favorable in anybody's direction. We have the means to do it. We have the access to the information. If there's anything that could be done to stop this, and like I said, this is brand new to me. I had no idea what's been going on. But that's just part of the parcel. My concern is what is happening with Hamilton Avenue and Princeton Pike.
Ridge Road and Hamilton Avenue are both county roads. We have no say over them. We can't even clear snow off of them.
So you
If there's
can't.
snow on the ground. They're not our roads, they're the county's roads.
You can't interpose on our behalf as far as being our.
We asked the county to do all kinds of things, and they do what they like. We don't have control over roads that we don't own, and we don't,
But
when we have salt and the county doesn't have salt, we can't even go salt our Witten Road or Hamilton Avenue or Galbraith Road or any of the roads you mentioned. They belong to the county.
You are our elected officials. So what are we to do?
Huh?
You are our elected officials.
I'm aware
So
of that.
what are we to do?
And the roads
I'm
we
asking you
control,
to.
we can do something about. We can't do anything about county roads.
You have to go to the county. The commissioners are in charge of the county roads, which are all, Fleming, Daly, Hamilton, Galbraith, North Bend, and there's a bunch of other ones.
So if we were to go as a collective to the county, are you guys going to stand up for us? Are you going to be behind us, or just continue to say there's nothing we can do
If they
about
want to
it?
make it a two-lane road, I will be with you 100%. Because that's not going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys are already. They have a job that I certainly don't want. My hat goes off to them every morning I wake up, and every night I go to bed. I pray to God that they're safe every minute of the day, that they wear that uniform. I ask for their protection, and so does my family. We need that. And we need this other protection, does other stuff that's going on. So I thank you for the time, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Step on up, state your name and your address, please.
Good evening. My name is Robin Robinson, 835 Finney Trail. I'm just curious of two things. What's going to happen to Whittier School? And also, when is Arts Connect, the building, coming back? Thank you.
I can answer the Arts Connect questions to the best of my ability. Right now, we are hoping to be able to move back in November, and then most of our programming will begin full force in January, just because of the holidays. So we'll have a soft opening late November, beginning of December, and then a big grand opening in January.
Kathleen,
Yeah, and
you wanna
then-
address the.
Yeah, Ms. Robinson, to address your question about what's the future of the Whitaker Elementary site, at this point, I don't think anybody knows. We haven't had any discussions with the school board, probably in a couple months, about what their thoughts are going forward on that site. I mean, as you may recall, probably early summer, late spring, early summer, there was conversation about potential multifamily development. I think there was some pretty strong feelings from the community about that particular use. And from there, the school board has gone back to the drawing board. And to date, I don't have any proposal from them or anything. So as of yet, we don't know.
So the residential thing is a no-go?
I think the feedback that the school district got from the community was that, again, there were some strong feelings about multifamily development there.
Negative.
That was a proposed apartment complex.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think they've taken those plans and kind of started back from ground zero, and from there, I don't know yet what their thoughts are. Sure.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing that there are none, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.